My name is Jade Jameson, and for 8 years I gave everything to Vanguard Strategies. Countless late nights, weekends sacrificed, relationships strained, all for the sake of keeping our biggest client happy. I wasn't just another employee. I was the person they called when things went south. The one who smoothed over PR nightmares. The one who closed million-dollar deals while everyone else clocked out at 5. I started as an intern, running coffee orders and stapling reports. Nobody knew my name back then, but I made damn sure they would. I worked harder than anyone, pulled all-nighters perfecting presentations that weren't even mine, sat in on meetings I wasn't invited to, just absorbing, learning. Slowly, I clawed my way up. Assistant, junior account manager, then senior. Every promotion was a battle, but I won. And now, after everything, I was on the verge of finally getting what I deserved, the title of Senior Account Director. It wasn't just a title, it was validation. Proof that all my sacrifices meant something. And today, at the all-hands company meeting, I was sure they'd announce my promotion. I had earned it. The timing was perfect. My team and I had just wrapped up our biggest campaign yet, a multi-million-dollar rebrand for our top client, Lockwood Industries. I had been the lead on this project from day one, managing everything from creative direction to client negotiations. It was my work that secured their long-term contract. Everyone knew it. Even Mark. Mark was the COO. I hated that sleazy, two-faced middle manager more than I hated waking up before sunrise. He was the kind of guy who never actually worked, but somehow always took credit for my success. He'd hover around, listening in on my meetings, then run off to casually mention my ideas in front of the execs, pretending they were his own. I played the game, though. Smiled through gritted teeth. I knew my work spoke for itself. And today, it would finally pay off. As I sat in that conference room, surrounded by my colleagues, I could already hear my name being announced. I imagined the polite round of applause, the congratulatory handshakes, maybe even a celebratory drink after work. I had already pictured the email I'd send to my parents, telling them their daughter had made it. The CEO, Mr. Reinhardt, cleared his throat. My stomach flipped in anticipation. This was it. Then he said a name. Not mine. The name of someone who didn't deserve it. And just like that, my entire world imploded. At first, I thought I misheard. Maybe I was in shock. Maybe my brain refused to process what was happening. Because the name they said wasn't mine. It was Ethan. And I didn't even know who the hell Ethan was. Then I saw him. Some baby-faced, cocky kid sitting near the front. He leaned back in his chair like he had zero worries, like this was all just routine for him. A lazy smirk sat on his face as the CEO, Mr. Reinhardt, introduced him as our new senior account director. My position. My skin went cold. My heartbeat slammed in my ears. This had to be a mistake. Wait, I blurted, standing up before I could stop myself. Every head in the room turned. What's going on? I thought... I swallowed hard. I thought I was up for that role. A few people looked away, suddenly very interested in their notepads. Mr. Reinhardt cleared his throat and gave me one of those fake-ass, sympathetic smiles. Jade, we need to speak privately. Please come with me. I followed him, my hands shaking, my stomach in knots. The moment we stepped into the office, HR was already there. A folder was waiting on the desk. My termination papers. We're making some structural changes, Mr. Reinhardt said smoothly. It's nothing personal. 8 years of my life. 1,000,000 overtime hours. A client list that I built from scratch. And it was nothing personal? You're firing me? My voice cracked, but I wasn't about to break. Not yet. After everything I've done for this company? HR slid the folder toward me. Your severance package is generous, considering the circumstances. I laughed. Not because any of this was funny, but because it was so blatantly corrupt. So that's it? You're just replacing me? With him? The door swung open, and as if on cue, Ethan strolled in. He had that smug, rich kid energy, The kind of guy who never had to work for anything in his life. He didn't even pretend to be humble about it. Just sauntered in like he owned the place, hands in his pockets, grinning. "Sup, Jade," he said, like we were buddies. I wanted to punch him. "Ethan will be taking over your accounts," Mr. Reinhardt said. "We trust you'll ensure a smooth transition." I almost choked. "You want me to train him?" "Of course, we understand if you need some time to—" I snapped the folder shut. Number Ethan scoffed. "Geez, no need to be dramatic. I had built this company's most profitable accounts from the ground up. I had secured multi-million-dollar deals that kept the lights on in this place. And now, some Nepo baby who probably still needed his mom to schedule his dentist appointments was taking my job?" I turned to Mr. Reinhardt. "He has zero experience." "He has potential," he replied smoothly. No, he had connections. And that was the only thing that mattered here. I stared at the three of them, Reinhardt, HR, and Ethan, realizing in that moment that they didn't see me as a person. I was just a tool they had used up. Disposable. Replaceable. Fine. If they thought I was done, they were dead wrong. I grabbed my things and left without another word. But as I walked out, I made myself a promise. They were going to regret this. And they did. Badly. Walking out of that office felt like being in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. 1 minute, I was on top of the world expecting a promotion. The next, I was nothing. No title, no job, just another name on a termination letter. I stepped into the hallway, my legs numb beneath me. My so-called co-workers avoided my eyes, suddenly too busy typing nonsense on their keyboards. The ones who did look at me gave these weak, fake smiles, little murmurs of, "I'm so sorry, Jade. I can't believe this happened. You didn't deserve this." But nobody did anything. Not a single person stood up for me. Not one. Then came Mark. He leaned against my desk like he had all the time in the world, arms crossed, that punchable smirk on his face. "Tough break, huh?" I didn't answer. I just grabbed my things, moving on autopilot. "You know how it is," he continued, voice oozing fake sympathy. "It's just business." I froze. That phrase. That damn phrase. It was the same line Mr. Reinhardt had used when he fired me. The same words corporate vultures always spit out right before they stab you in the back. I turned to Mark, staring him down. "You're right," I said slowly, my voice steady even though my blood was boiling. "It is just business." I didn't know how, and I didn't know when, but I swore I would make them pay. I walked out of that building with my head high, but inside I was seething. They thought I was done, that I'd just disappear, lick my wounds, maybe find some second-rate job at a smaller firm. They had no idea who they were dealing with, because I wasn't just going to move on. I was going to ruin them. And that's exactly what I did. Losing my job wasn't just a professional setback. It was a gut punch to my entire identity. For years, I was the best at what I did. I built something real, something valuable. And in one meeting, it was ripped away and handed to some entitled idiot who had never worked a day in his life. I told myself I'd bounce back. I had experience, I had connections, I had results. But reality? It hit me harder than I expected. Nobody wants baggage. I sent out applications the same night I was fired, updated my resume, reached out to every executive, every recruiter I'd ever worked with. At first, people responded with warmth. "Jade, I heard what happened. I'm so sorry." But when it came time to actually offer me something, radio silence. I got rejection after rejection. Some firms didn't even bother replying. Others strung me along for weeks before letting me down with some generic corporate BS. "We've decided to go in a different direction. You're an impressive candidate, but we're looking for someone who's a better culture fit. Given the circumstances of your departure, we're hesitant to move forward." That last one? That one stung the most. My departure. like I had done something wrong. Word had spread. And in this industry, reputation is everything. Nobody wanted to hire someone who had been let go. Nobody wanted to take a chance on someone with, baggage. I wasn't just unemployed. I was blacklisted. I tried to move on, to focus on my next step, but I couldn't stop watching. I still had friends on the inside. People who weren't brave enough to stand up for me but were more than happy to spill all the dirty details over drinks. And what I heard? Infuriating. Ethan was fumbling every single one of my accounts. He was screwing up meetings, missing deadlines, losing clients left and right. He had no idea how to manage a team, no clue how to handle high-pressure negotiations. One of my biggest clients, Lockwood Industries, was already threatening to pull their contract. But instead of holding Ethan accountable, Mark and the CEO coddled him, covered up his mistakes, smoothed things over with empty promises. It was disgusting. If I had made half the mistakes Ethan was making, they would have fired me on the spot. But because he was the CEO's nephew, he got infinite chances. I won't lie. There was a moment, several actually, where I thought about walking away. Maybe it wasn't worth the fight. Maybe I should just move cities, switch industries, start fresh somewhere where my name wasn't tainted. But every time I considered it, I thought about the years I had given them, the sacrifices, the nights I spent in that office while everyone else was home, the way they smiled in my face, told me I was invaluable, and then tossed me aside like I was nothing. And I thought about Ethan, sitting in my chair, taking credit for my work. I couldn't let that slide. And then it hit me. I knew too much. This company had secrets, weaknesses, flaws they worked hard to keep hidden. They fired me thinking I was powerless. What they didn't realize? They had just created their biggest threat. I wasn't going to move on. I wasn't going to beg for a second chance. I was going to take them down. And trust me, they never saw it coming. I wasn't reckless. Revenge is a game of patience. If I went scorched earth right away, started bad-mouthing the company, ranting about how unfairly I was treated, I'd look bitter, emotional, like just another disgruntled former employee trying to stir up trouble. If I wanted this to work, I had to be smart. So I played it cool. I started reaching out to my former clients, not with accusations or sob stories, just a simple, friendly message. Hey, just wanted to check in and see how things are going with the transition. Hope everything is smooth on your end. That's it. No drama, no bitterness, just a nudge. And it worked. Most of my clients liked me. I had spent years building those relationships, remembering their kids' names, their birthdays, their favorite whiskey brands. I wasn't just some faceless account manager to them. I was Jade, the one who had always come through for them. So when I reached out, they responded. It's been different, I'll say that much. Yeah, things are okay. Just getting used to the new guy. Wait, you aren't there anymore? What happened? I never gave a direct answer. I let them fill in the blanks. Oh, you know how corporate is. Lots of changes happening. Just wanted to make sure you guys were still being taken care of. That was all I had to say. I could practically feel the gears turning in their heads. Meanwhile, inside the company, Ethan was tanking. Apparently, Ethan had been prepping for weeks for a major pitch with Lockwood Industries, my former crown jewel client. This was huge. If he messed up, the company stood to lose millions. Spoiler alert, he messed up. Badly. According to my sources, the pitch started disastrously. Ethan was cocky, underprepared, trying to wing it instead of actually knowing his material. He stuttered through key points, got numbers completely wrong, and, my favorite part, accidentally showed the wrong slide deck. Lockwood's executives were not amused. The CEO, Mr. Reinhardt, tried spinning it, of course, saying, "Oh, Ethan is still finding his footing," and "We're going through a transition period." But Lockwood? They weren't buying it. I didn't even have to do much. The company was crumbling under its own incompetence. Lockwood started noticing things. The delays, the lack of clear communication, the decline in service quality. And once a client starts doubting you, it's like blood in the water. One day, I got a message from Mark Townsend, one of Lockwood's senior executives, someone I had worked with closely for years. "Hey Jade, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to ask, what exactly happened over there? Things seem different, not in a good way." I smiled. The seeds of doubt? Planted. Now it was only a matter of time before they bloomed. Patience. That's what revenge is all about. You wait, you watch. And then when the perfect moment arrives, you strike. I knew Ethan would screw up eventually. The only question was how big the disaster would be. Turns out, catastrophic. It started with a new campaign for Lockwood Industries, one of their biggest projects yet, a multi-million-dollar product launch, the kind of high-profile deal that could make or break a firm's reputation. Now, back when I handled their account, every detail was flawless. Timelines, precise. Messaging, spot on. Risk mitigation, handled before problems even existed. Ethan? He rushed everything, cut corners, ignored the warning signs. And then, in one glorious moment of pure incompetence, he leaked confidential client data. I wish I was exaggerating. Somehow, in his scramble to streamline processes, he accidentally uploaded internal Lockwood projections, private, sensitive financial data, to a public client portal. Within hours, the information spread like wildfire. Analysts, competitors, even the press got hold of it. The numbers revealed weaknesses in Lockwood's supply chain, vulnerabilities their rivals could exploit. The damage? Millions. Lockwood's stock plummeted overnight. Their executives were in full-blown crisis mode, trying to control the fallout. And the best part? There was no easy fix. That's when I made my move. I reached out to Mark Townsend, the same Lockwood executive who had messaged me weeks ago, sensing trouble. This time, I wasn't vague. I was crystal clear. "Mark, I saw what happened. I'm sorry, but I think I can help." No begging, no desperation, just confidence. He responded immediately. "Jade, if you have a solution, I'm all ears. We can't afford another mistake like this." Perfect. See, while Ethan had been bungling Lockwood's account, I had been building something of my own. I had two choices. One, offer my services through a competitor. A rival firm would kill for a client like Lockwood, and I had plenty of industry connections to make that happen. Second, start my own firm. Riskier, harder, but infinitely more satisfying. I chose the latter. I had been working in silence for weeks, lining up investors, building a skeleton team, and positioning myself for this exact moment. So I told Mark the truth. I'm launching my own firm. I've already assembled a team of the best strategists, creatives, and account managers. If you come with me, I promise you won't just recover from this. You'll come out ahead. Silence. I held my breath. Then came his reply. "Send me the proposal. Let's talk." Over the next few days, we negotiated behind closed doors. Lockwood's board was furious with Ethan and the firm. Their trust was gone. The company had one shot to fix things, and they needed someone who actually knew what they were doing. I made my case. I had the strategy to undo the damage, the expertise to rebuild trust with their investors, the vision to make them stronger than before. And most importantly, I wasn't some nepotism-fueled idiot fumbling through PowerPoint slides. I knew this business inside and out. They were hesitant, of course. Leaving an established firm for a startup is risky. But in the end, the choice was clear. Stay with the company that just cost them millions, or go with the person who had been saving their asses for years. By the time Ethan, Mark, and the CEO figured out what was happening, it was already too late. Lockwood was ready to walk. And my former company? They had no idea what was about to hit them. You ever watch a house of cards collapse? It starts slow, just a wobble, a shift. But then one wrong move, one critical piece pulled away, and the whole thing comes crashing down. That's exactly what happened. The moment the contracts were finalized, Lockwood officially severed ties with my former company. Just like that, their biggest client, gone. It wasn't just about the millions in lost revenue. It was the message it sent to the entire industry. Lockwood's departure signaled weakness. Suddenly, other clients started questioning their loyalty. If a powerhouse like Lockwood didn't trust the firm anymore, why should anyone else? Inside the company, full-blown chaos. Mark was scrambling to spin the situation, trying to downplay the loss. But investors weren't stupid. Stocks started dipping. Other clients hesitated on renewing contracts. Revenue projections tanked. And Ethan? Oh, he was panicking. I had sources still inside, people who secretly enjoyed feeding me updates. And according to them, Ethan had a meltdown. He was frantically emailing clients, begging them not to leave. He even tried calling Lockwood, but they refused to take his calls. I pictured him in his office, sweating through his expensive dress shirt. Staring at a screen full of red numbers, realizing, for the first time in his entitled golden boy life, that he was in way over his head. Then came the emergency meetings. The CEO, Ethan's uncle, was in damage control mode. He started making big promises to the remaining clients, swearing that things were under control, that mistakes had been made, but they were being fixed. But it was too late. The business world doesn't forgive weakness. And once a company starts bleeding, the sharks circle fast. And I was watching from the outside, smiling. A week after Lockwood left, I got an unexpected message from Ethan. "Jade, can we talk?" I nearly laughed. Oh, now he wanted to talk? After stealing my job? After treating me like I was nothing? I let the message sit there, unread, unanswered. Because this was only the beginning of their downfall. You ever see a company try to pretend everything is fine when it's obviously on fire? That's exactly what my former firm was doing. A week after finalizing our contract, Lockwood made an official announcement. They weren't just quietly switching firms, they were making it known. A full press release hit every major business news site. Lockwood Industries is proud to partner with Jade Jamison's newly launched agency, a firm built on excellence, expertise, and deep industry knowledge. And my favorite part? After careful evaluation, we decided to part ways with our previous agency due to a misalignment in strategy and execution. We believe in working with the best, and this new partnership reflects that commitment. Translation: Ethan's company was a disaster, so we're going with someone who actually knows what they're doing. And just like that, the news exploded. The industry turns against them within hours. Business blogs and analysts were tearing my old firm apart. And then came the insider leaks. Disgruntled employees, people who never liked Ethan, started talking. Anonymous sources revealed how he was handed my job with zero experience, how he botched pitches, how he couldn't even handle basic client relations. One particularly brutal quote went viral. Ethan wasn't just bad at his job. He was so bad that clients were leaving just to escape him. The entire industry was laughing. Inside the company, full-scale panic. The CEO, Ethan's uncle, was livid. He was desperately trying to control the damage, sending out corporate statements full of vague nonsense like, "We remain committed to excellence and are making internal adjustments to better serve our clients," which was code for, "We are completely screwed and have no idea what to do." Mark? He was desperately calling contacts, trying to keep other clients from jumping ship. He had spent years kissing up to the CEO, thinking it would protect him. But now, he was just another sinking rat on a doomed ship. And Ethan? Ethan had officially become a joke. Industry executives were mocking him behind closed doors. His LinkedIn page was getting roasted. Employees were openly blaming him for the firm's downfall. And I decided to give them one final gift. The final nail in the coffin. I drafted an email. All employees at my former company. Subject: How to destroy your own business. A case study. Then I wrote, 1 year ago, I walked into a meeting expecting to be promoted. Instead, I was fired to make room for someone who had zero experience because of nepotism, because of arrogance, because of short-sighted greed. They stole my job. They stole my hard work. They stole my clients. And now, they're watching everything fall apart. Not because of me, but because this was always going to happen. To those of you who stood by and said nothing, I hope you're watching. To those of you still working under that failure of a leadership team, I hope you're updating your resumes. And to Ethan, Mark, and the CEO, you did this to yourselves. I hovered over the send button. Then I pressed it. Within minutes, my phone started blowing up. Employees were whispering in Slack chats. Some laughed. Some were furious. Others started quietly sending out job applications, realizing the company was done for. And Ethan? He deleted his LinkedIn. 12 months since they fired me. 365 days since they thought I was replaceable. And now? I was thriving. After the Lockwood deal, doors flew open for me. Other companies saw what I had done, how I had saved a sinking ship, and suddenly, everyone wanted me. But I didn't want to be someone else's employee again. Not after what happened. So I built my own firm, Jameson and Company. It started small, a handful of loyal clients, a few trusted employees. But within a year, we were a powerhouse. And my old company? Gone. The day I saw the headline, I actually laughed out loud. Vanguard Strategies officially declares bankruptcy after massive client losses. Turns out, losing your biggest account, public credibility, and competent leadership is a death sentence in the corporate world. Mark tried desperately to salvage things, but with every failed deal, every client that walked away, their debts piled up. The CEO? He did what all cowardly leaders do. He sold the company for scraps, liquidating what was left before it fully imploded. And Ethan? Oh, poor, pathetic Ethan. Ethan's pathetic ending. After the firm collapsed, no one in the industry would touch him. He applied for jobs, tried to use his connections, but his name was poison. Nobody wanted to hire the guy who ran a multi-million-dollar company into the ground. Last I heard, he was unemployed, jobless, humiliated. And the best part? He had to move back in with his parents. Some people believe karma isn't real. I disagree. I think karma is just patience, mixed with the right opportunity. And when that opportunity comes, you take it.